Let them fight.
Hey everyone, this is the Bearded Zeno, and this is going to be my review for Godzilla. Yeah. Wow. Wow. First off, I want to apologize because the black bars that you're seeing on the side of the screen, probably, it doesn't whenever I record it like this. It's the only way that I can see my feed, and that's the only way I can make a halfway decent video, so I'm sorry, I apologize. My camera died, so I have to use the iPad, I have to use YouTube Capture, so it's not exactly the best way. But let's get to the review. This movie stars Bryan Cranston and I think his name's Aaron Taylor Johnson. Guy played Kick-Ass. Probably should do more research, but who cares? And Ken Watanabe, and boy, what an all-star cast. Really good cast. Everybody they bring very good performances, especially Bryan Cranston. Although he doesn't have much screen time, I greatly enjoyed seeing him on screen. And it was probably the best performance in the movie, not gonna lie. Anytime you put Bryan Cranston anywhere, it's just gonna be the best. So I guess the whole order goes Breaking Bad, Malcolm in the Middle, parallel with Need for Speed, then Godzilla. So, yep, there we go. That's the timeline for Walter White. Anyways, the creature effects were top notch. They looked really good. But they used the creatures very sparingly. And that's both a positive and a negative. Basically, for the positive, it just means that when they are on screen, you remember it. It is very impactful. It's, oh, wow, that's cool. Give me more of that. It leaves you wanting more. Instead of just being the whole movie, oh, well, I'm already used to it, so who cares? It's just giant monsters fighting each other. And Drew Goddard knows how to shoot monsters. If you haven't seen his indie movie, Monsters, it's just called Monsters, it should be on Netflix. That is a damn fine movie. He knows how to shoot monsters and have a human story, which is exactly what this is. This is exactly like Transformers. Humans are the main characters. Godzilla is a side character. He is an event in the movie. So Godzilla is more or less the center of the story. The whole story is based around him and the events that he caused. But it's not featuring him. It's featuring a human cast, and it works out pretty well, especially when you have such fine actors like Bryan Cranston. And it has a very dark tone, and I like that. I like that a lot. It seemed like those monsters were there. It seemed exactly like those monsters were there. The way Drew Goddard shot it, the way the CG was created, it was just so good. So good. But like I said, the negative is you don't get that much screen time with the monsters at all. This is a 2.5 hour movie, and I guarantee you Godzilla was on the screen for less than 15. Seriously. Him out of the water, you see a clear shot of him, less than 15 minutes of the movie. But those 15 minutes are glorious. So good. And you do see more of the monsters that he's fighting. And you see a lot more of those, actually. A lot of clear shots. So it's odd that they're hiding Godzilla so much, but it does make it very impactful when he shows up. It's an event. You're like, yeah, it's Godzilla! It makes you feel like you're there, you get amped up. And just the way that Drew Goddard shot it, you get a great sense of the size of these monsters. You're like, oh, that is huge. I don't want to fuck with that. That is huge. And I greatly enjoy it. I saw it in 3D, and the first 3D film in a while that I saw, and I thought, oh, that was actually worth the extra money. I saw it with a few other people, and they didn't seem to notice the 3D that much, but it wasn't the 3D, it was the immersive 3D. And it worked really well. Really well. I saw very few scenes that weren't in 3D. To be honest, all of the monster scenes 3D. And like I said, it's not the extrusive CD. Whoa. Extrusive CD. Whoa. So it's not the extrusive 3D, it's the intrusive 3D. Kind of where you can see into the world. The world doesn't come out towards you. And I like that. I like that a lot. I like that they use 3D like that, and it just brought you into that world. And it made Godzilla pop. It was like, oh, I could see him. I could see the size, you know. I can see the layers. I can see the depth. This thing is huge. And yeah, definitely the 3D is it's good. But it's post-converted 3D. You can tell by looking at it, it's post-converted. So look at that how you want. Like I said, it's the best 3D I've seen in a long time. But it's not exactly the best 3D. So I don't know if you should waste the extra money for you, but for me, it was worth it because I love seeing movies in 3D when they're good. You know, I hate seeing a really crappy post-converted movie. It's like, oh, this is nothing. There's nothing going on here. Like Transformers Dark of the Moon or Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. That movie was fucking terrible. But, yeah. I really like this movie. I like this movie a lot. And like I said, 3D was worth it for me. So, I'm giving it a 9. 9 out of 10. The human characters are great. Every time Godzilla was on screen, it was great. The progression of the story was awesome. It just kept you going, keep you going, keep you going. There wasn't that too many lulls. There was one in the very middle. And it felt like, oh God, really again? We're doing this again? Oh, really? You haven't learned by now? But that's about it. It was a really good movie, and you should definitely go see it, especially if you like giant monsters. They're not on screen that much. At least Godzilla isn't. But when he's on screen, he has a presence. And that presence is awesome. You should not miss this movie if you are a fan of dark films, if you're a fan of realistic films, if you're a fan of creature movies, monster movies, or just awesome action movies. It is a great film that you should definitely go out and watch. Like I said, 9 out of 10. I just want to do a little color here real quick. Saw a 3D trailer for X-Men Days of Future Past. I'm definitely seeing that in 3D. That looked cool. There's this one scene in the trailer where Magneto's levitating something and his hands literally came out of the screen. So that stuff always shocks me. I guarantee it's probably going to be some kind of crappy post-converted, but that had me interested, and that was a really good 3D shot, especially for a trailer. So, yeah, definitely see the X-Men Days of Future Past next week in 3D. So be on the lookout for that review. And, yeah, that's going to be it. I highly recommend Godzilla. Beer Zeno out.